Hola, bienvenidos a este segundo panel de Nextv Series Central America 2021. Vamos a hacer una aclaración importante. Esta sesión será 100% en inglés, así que los invitamos a todos a cambiar el chip por los próximos minutos. El resto de las sesiones de la conferencia serán todas ya nuevamente en español. Hello, welcome everyone to this new panel of Nextv Series Central America 2021. My name is Juan Pablo Conti, and I am the Content and Audience Development Manager for the Americas at Dataxis. As you can see and hear, this session will be conducted in English. All other sessions of the conference today and tomorrow will be in Spanish. We're going to be talking about Android TV, a technology that, as I'm sure most of you know by now, is gaining traction across the world as the software platform of choice for many paid TV operators looking to bring the next generation of video services to their subscribers. But what exactly is it? What advantages and disadvantages does it have, and how well does it handle super aggregation of OTT services? Well, to find out, we have brought together 3 media executives who have direct experience in the creation, deployment, and operation of TV services running on Android TV in Central America. So let's introduce our guest speakers for this session. Dhaval Nakar is the Executive Director of Fixed Residential Services and Postpaid Mobile at Cable and Wireless Panama. Cable and Wireless Panama, part of Liberty Latin America. He's based in Panama. Daniel Vieco Landucci is the Head of Programming for Red Bull Latin America. He's also based in Panama. And Nick Wilson is the Head of Customer Success at TiVo, an Xperi company. And Nick is based in California. So welcome, gentlemen. Dhaval, Cable and Wireless Panama, which operates under the Mass Mobile brand, is one of the country's largest telecommunication groups. Let's start by summarizing the company's existing residential and mobile product offering. Which specific services are available to consumers? What broadband speeds do you offer? And what bundling options are available?
Great. So yeah, Mass Mobile, which is our consumer-facing brand, is historically an incumbent mobile operator. We are the biggest mobile operator in the country today. And on the fixed side, we are relatively new. We started investing into our fixed network about 3 or 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. In that time period, we have become the biggest fiber-to-the-home operator in Panama. And we offer broadband speeds, starting from 100 megs all the way up to a gig. Typically, we tend to offer 1P, 2P, and 3P, but our highest sold and where maximum customer base is in 3P, right? So Panama is still a market where consumers like TV, they love TV. Mm-hmm. Cord cutting has not yet become as big a threat in Panama as it is in US or Europe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's interesting. I think it's a trend across Latin America, but it's always interesting to see how it develops in each country. Daniel, besides being a famous energy drink manufacturer and a very competitive Formula One team, Red Bull is also a global media company that produces and licenses original content and operates an OTT TV channel, Red Bull TV. What do the company's global and Latin American media operations and digital platforms consist of, and how are they organized?
First of all, thank you for the invitation, Juan Pablo. We are all in with F1, having the only Latin driver, Checo Perez. We are very proud of him. Yeah. Red Bull is a very diverse company. We have a dedicated area to media called the Red Bull Media Network, responsible for creating, programming, and distributing our content. The Red Bull TV app is available across various devices, everything from Android to Apple to Amazon, Roku, PlayStation, Xbox, smart TVs, and even Teslas. Now you can get the Red Bull TV app in your Tesla. Because why not? We want to be part of our consumers' life wherever they are. So besides having more than 270 shows and 300 films, our unique proposition with Red Bull TV is live events. And during the last 2 years, we have been putting a special effort into localizing the content and the platform into Latin Spanish. We hold licenses for significant events like the World Rally Championship, the UCI Mountain Bike World Cup, the FIM World Enduro Championship, and of course, our flagship properties like Red Bull Rampage, Red Bull Batalla, Red Bull BC1, cliff diving, and many more. We have over 65 live events every year, and we're happy to sub-license all of this content for live or VOD if anyone is interested.
Okay, that's interesting. And specifically, what are your responsibilities as head of programming for Red Bull Latin America, and how does Red Bull monetize the content it produces in Latin America? Well, just mentioned licensing. I guess it's one of the options in which you monetize that content, right?
Sure. So as head of programming, I'm in charge of working with the local markets in the region to create, activate, and distribute our content through our network, from social to earned media to our properties like redbull.com and Red Bull TV. For us, it's all really about giving wings to people and ideas. If there is a great story, something incredible, never done before, we want to be part of it. And we work with partners to make it happen. We love co-productions. For instance, we created a documentary about Mariana Pajon together with Claro Sports. It works super well, and that's in part how we create efficiencies, by sharing costs with partners, providing access to talent, and having joint activations to amplify reach to the max. We also do product and brand integration sometimes from other brands in our content. And on the other side, we have a vast catalog of content available for licensing. One of the exciting things about us is that we are happy to explore exchange options. It's not all about the money for us, so we are happy to exchange our content for advertisement placement, venues, or other content that we might be interested in. So if anyone wants to talk, we're more than happy to have that conversation.
Okay, thanks. That's a good introduction, Daniel. Daval, when was your Android TV product launch in Panama, and what functionality does it offer? Let's start talking Android. You're muted, Daval.
So yeah, we launched our Android TV platform in Q3 2020, so in the midst of the pandemic. And we call it Mas TV Total, right? That's the consumer-facing brand name, Mas TV Total. It's by far the most innovative product experience, the TV product experience that any operator has in Panama. So apart from watching linear TV, customers can use natural language voice. They have access to more than 5,000 apps right from the set-top box. It's a one-stop shop for discovery of content. For example, a customer can search for the name of a show, right? Friends, for example, and it will list out all the linear TV channels where Friends might be playing out, all the OTT channels or the OTT apps where it could be, or in the VOD, etc. Right? So it's a one-stop shop for all search. It's also a one-stop shop for all recommendations. So it pulls together recommendations from linear, VOD, and OTT and displays it for the customer. And other than that, it of course has replay TV, cloud recording, catch-up kind of functionalities. And another thing that our customers really like about it is that it is wireless, right? So it works on Wi-Fi. You don't need to start pulling wires from your modem on HFC, for example, or on fiber to your bedroom and through drilling and cabling through the whole house. It just works on Wi-Fi.
That's a key part of the functionality. I can imagine. Is it available to and deployed to your entire pay TV subscriber base, or is it being partially rolled out as new set-top boxes are installed?
Yeah, so I believe for any operator that is launching a new product, addressing the customer base and bringing the innovation to them is very important. And each month we continue to upgrade large parts of our customer base to Mas TV Total.
Okay. So the plan is to have it to the full.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Nick, what is it about Android TV? Why is it attracting so much interest among pay TV operators around the world, and as we can see in Latin America as well these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a bunch of things, and I'd like to agree with Deval. They do have the best Android TV implementation as an unbiased observer. But I think that, yeah, like I was saying, there's a handful of things. The low-cost set-top boxes is a benefit, right? Because Android TV is based on an open source project, you save on some of the licenses and royalties that may go with other pay TV products. The access to the app ecosystem is another one, right? To the point that Daniel made, people want to have their content available on as many platforms as possible. And because Android is so widely available, it's an easy platform to port your app onto. And because there are so many Android mobile developers out there, and Android TV is based on the same platform, there's a lot of expertise where you can go out and hire developers to be able to build something on the platform. And then I think finally, some of the bells and whistles that Google's built in, right? They've added functionality that makes it easier to roll a DVB-C or QAM experience on top. They provide the hooks for Google Assistant built in. You have access to the Google Play Store, not just for apps, but for movies and rentals and other things where you're starting to see operators where transactional VOD may not be profitable for them anymore, but you don't want to lose the ability to offer those first run movies. And this gives a way to kind of embed that experience and continue to offer a really premium experience without having to do it all on your own, right? Leveraging the work of others.
And the other thing I'd like you to clarify, use your experience, is that there seems to be always some confusion in the industry between Android TV, the operator tier, and the Android open source projects. It's like we have two different variants of Android. Can you help us understand what the differences are and why would an operator choose one over the other?
Yeah, I mean, the key benefit is one has all the Google support behind it and the other doesn't. And so on Android certified Android TV devices, you get access to the Play Store, you get access to the App Store, to the movies and games, to Google Assistant, and to a number of the other Google provided pieces of functionality. Android open source project really gives you access to their source code and no guarantee beyond that. And so you have to build your own app store on top of that. You need to go out and source apps yourself. Now, using Android makes that easier, but because every implementation is a little bit different, you aren't guaranteed that those apps are going to work in the same way that they might be on if you're leveraging Android TV on a certified device. And so there are some people who have done some great things with Android open source. I mean, that's the basis for Fire TV sticks, Fire TV devices. There's some operators in Europe who have done great deployments, but it really requires significantly more technology investment, partnership coordination, and investment in porting apps, and ongoing support that you don't necessarily need if you take Android TV off the shelf.
So from an operator's point of view, usually thinking the Latin American market wouldn't seem to be making much more sense, right?
Yeah, I think that there's some shiny objects, right? Some things that people like on the surface, things like not giving up some level of control to Google around maybe having a little bit more control of your data. But what we believe at TiVo is as people head down that path, the cost and overhead and continuous investment that it's going to take in that platform is going to overwhelm the benefits that you get. And so even I think maybe go back 2 years, a lot of the concern is what is Google going to do with the platform? Are they going to change the rules where it doesn't make sense for operators? And maybe Android open source is a way to protect yourself. I think with the volume and size of operators deployed globally on Android TV now, that's not really an option, right? There is a high level of confidence now that this is a platform that's here to stay. It's a platform that has investment. And I think it's safe to say that Google probably is in this for the long haul in terms of supporting operators on the platform.
And Deval, from the operator's point of view, what advantages and disadvantages do you see in Android TV, again, as a pay TV operator? That
So,
for example, Nick mentioned a potential worry about loss of control over what your subscribers will access. Is that a risk? Is that a necessity these days? Or what's your view?
So before I get into the advantages and disadvantages, let me talk about the loss of control, right?
Okay.
I mean, in the industry, there's always, a loss of controls, fear, right? Either it's about what will Google do with Android in the future, or it's about linear versus OTT and so on, right? And from my perspective, to use a cliche, customer is the, and as far as video entertainment is concerned, the customer has made it extremely clear what they want. They want to have entertainment. They don't care if it's on linear. They don't care if it's on OTT. They don't care what technology they use to access it. And therefore, as a marketeer, my primary goal is to serve this need of the customer. And then that's where, we come to the advantages. And in that context, we come to the advantages and disadvantages of Android TV, right? So starting with the advantages, in this context of OTT exploding and consumer preference changing dramatically in a very short span of time, the role of the cable operator has changed. In the past, in the value chain, the role of a cable operator was to be an aggregator of content, right? Cable operators aggregated hundreds of channels and sold those channels to a customer at a certain price point per month, using an access technology of set-top box. In this new world with new consumer preference, the role of a cable operator needs to evolve. It cannot remain at being merely an aggregator of content. That's an important value add. But on top of that, cable operators need to enable customers to discover the content that they love and be able to enjoy the content on the same time that the consumer wants to, right? Taking away the barrier of time on linear TV. And in that context, Android TV has its benefits because it is literally a one-stop shop for, literally all your top 100 apps that you want, right? I mean, there's 5,000 apps available. Top 100 apps more than cover 99% of your usage, right? So in terms of all the video content that is available on linear and VOD and OTT, it's all there in one place. Made it very easy to discover that content through search and recommendations, right? Made it very easy to be time agnostic in terms of replay TV, recordings, and so on. So that's where, we have a big advantage in Android TV. It's really able to serve the needs of the consumer very well. And sort of the cherry on top of the cake is it's able to do that within a reasonable go-to-market time period and within a reasonable budget, as opposed to choosing a different technology stack or, God forbid, trying to develop that in-house. So that's sort of the advantages, right? It's a faster time to market if you want to serve your consumer needs. Now the disadvantages are, of course, you will have a situation where, as an operator, you are not completely in control of the product. So, for example, if a provider decides not to put their app on Android TV for your specific region, there is nothing you can do about that, right? Consumers may want it. It will reflect not necessarily very well on your brand that you don't have that app, but there is not much you can do about that, right? So that theoretical risk exists, but like Nick explained, given the number of operators around the globe that have deployed Android TV, it's quite evident that it's here to stay, and it's surely also a partnership that Google and Android value a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would add just really quick on the point
Yep.
about the apps. One of the benefits too is there's a lot of consolidation going on in the content space these days, right? People spinning off content arms, people combining new D2C apps coming to market. One of the benefits to Android TV is if you're building a direct-to-consumer app, you're going to sit there and you're going to build it and prioritize the platforms based on the number of subscribers on that platform. And if you have your own proprietary system, you're going to be much lower on the list than Android TV, which we've seen consistently get the availability of those apps at the top of the stack and may even play higher because Google is more willing to allow people on the platform on more beneficial commercial terms than some other platforms where we've seen, you know, apps go slower to Roku or to other platforms because of the economic model across the board.
That's a good point. Good point. Daniel, besides being a linear TV channel, Red Bull TV is really an OTT platform that's offering both linear and VOD content that can be accessed through multiple platforms and apps. And that's why you come into the conversation, right? So what is your view on the importance of extending the reach of an OTT service through integration with connected TVs, mobile apps, streaming media players in general, and the Android TV platform in particular?
So the thing with app development, as Daval said, is it's time-consuming, expensive. You need to keep up with all the updates and support. This is why Android TV is so interesting. Also, the fact that you can fairly easily adapt an existing mobile app to the TV environment. As I said, we want to be where our consumers are, and we love to be the first ones. We were actually one of the first apps to be featured on Apple TV. But by being first, you have a chance to innovate. For instance, our app is also available on devices like Oculus Rift, Amazon Echo Show, and Facebook Portal. We also work with some partners to integrate the Red Bull TV app in set-top boxes. So we want to be everywhere, at least until the Android revolution takes fully over.
Nick, we're saying Android TV is being deployed by numbers of operators around the world. I suppose each operator will have the possibility to activate or not certain functions. What are you seeing? Are you seeing the same sort of functions being repeated across the world? Are there some that are more preferred than others? It's regional differences make a difference in terms of how you configure the service, and what are the most important features that operators deploying Android TV should implement on their set-top boxes?
Yeah, I think there are a bunch of answers to that, and one of them, and one of the trends we see, is the growing prevalence of Android TV has lined up pretty well in terms of timing with people moving to deploying IPTV video, right? And so I think Deval would tell you this is one of the things that they've invested in, but there are a lot of cool features that going IP allow you to have, right? To provide a consistent experience across devices in the home or out of the home, to mobile, or to the Fire TV in the bedroom, or to the Android TV set-top box in the living room. Network DVR being another one. There's some cool potential, we think, there long-term as the content rights continue to evolve around how you get it more efficient in storage, how you provide a better advertising experience on those. I think ad insertion is a big one that's going to line up with these and start over and catch up. But this all kind of loops into the IP delivered content. I think that's one big one. Deval mentioned earlier, providing a premium search and recommendations and unified discovery experience. One of the things that TiVo prides ourselves on is our content discovery experience, and the fact that we're agnostic to which content you see first, right? With the platforms, with some different app providers, you may lean one way or another in terms of featuring content. We try to make sure that we show users their services first, the content that's going to be the most cost efficient for them to view first, and to help them find, watch, and enjoy, which has kind of become our motto for how we deliver our service. And then I think the third one is availability of content, right? And Android TV is a key part of the platform, but more and more it's becoming important to have a presence on mobile devices, to have a presence on unmanaged set-top boxes. And I think Daniel highlighted a really great point, right? It's great that on Android TV, your investment in Android mobile is super portable and super reusable between the two. And so there are a lot of things, right? And then who knows what's going to continue to come down that pathway. Like I think I didn't know that the Red Bull app was available on Oculus. Like, that's great. What does that TV experience look like, right? How do we continue to evolve the TV experience? And I think there's some confidence that Google is a company that tends to stay ahead of the curve on some of these things as well.
And Daval, you've already insisted on the importance of search and recommendation, especially in these advanced TV platforms. I'd like to touch on that a little bit more, because it is certainly an area where OTTs have made significant progress. And for the traditional pay TV industry, it's been a challenge to getting into that point where you can really have confidence in that search and recommendation. Is it only now through these systems you can get to that point where you can match the search and recommendation experience in the pay TV world?
Yeah, I think sort of at the beginning of the previous decades, right, like around 2010, when Netflix started sort of getting into the growth trajectory that it did, it was amongst the first ones to really come up with this model on recommendations, right? And that is spot on. Every OTT app has that. And in that sense, for 10 years, pay TV operators were not serving that consumer need, right? Consumers were getting used to YouTube, Netflix, etc., with very relevant recommendations, and pay TV was not giving them that. Now, there's a segment of consumers that actually likes the lean back experience of linear TV, right? So you don't have the burden of choice. You have a remote, you keep zapping till you find something that you like, right? But at the same time, there's a growing segment that is used to advanced search and recommendation, which linear TV operators were not able to provide, or pay TV operators were not able to provide, right? At best, you had the EPG. At best, you had maybe replays that you could do on EPG, and that was about it. So I think what we see happening in the last 2 or 3 years with the ascent of Android TV is pay TV operators taking a step up on OTT, right? Because now literally every media house is thinking of going B2C, right? So Netflix started it, Amazon Prime sort of was a close second follower, and now Disney has it, and every big media house across the globe is just trying to go B2C. And in that sense, there's a big fragmentation in the market, right? It's if I want to search for a show on my normal smart TV, which has all these apps individually for all the OTT operators, I need to go into each app and keep searching till I find that particular content. And with Android TV and with Mass TV Total, what we have done is we have eliminated that friction in your experience, right? It's a step up from where each individual OTT app serves up its own recommendations. We are putting everything together based on our knowledge of your viewing habits and based on, like Nick explained, where you already have subscriptions, the cost that it takes for you to watch a particular piece of content and so on. So it's I would say a step up in experience that we have started to deliver.
And Nick, can we get to a point where you could? I mean, technically, I can see why you wouldn't. You should be able, through your smart TV, to have that sort of same integrated experience where you don't have to, as Devan was saying, necessarily go into every single app to search for something like this. At the moment, well, you can get it through Android TV. Is it impossible to think of a future where your smart TV will come integrated with that functionality as well?
No, I don't think that's impossible at all. We've had some conversations with operators about what a path to that might look like in a pay TV world, whether Android based or not. I think you're starting to see more and more interest in that space from the TV OEMs and from people who aren't native TV OEMs. I think TiVo Xperia has said that we're looking at the possibility of putting our user experience into TVs natively. I think Comcast has said the same thing around RDK and the X1 platform. I think it's a logical extension. Now, are there problems? Yes. One of the benefits of the Android TV that we talked about earlier is that box that you're deploying is maybe cost $50. And so if you have to replace it on a 4-year cycle, that's not the end of the world. One of the problems with TVs is, particularly for the people who are going to be willing to pay for the most premium experience, that's a much larger investment to be swapping out. And so how do you future-proof that hardware? How do you make sure that you aren't supporting TVs that are 6 years old and the hardware can't handle the new things that you want to do from a UI perspective? And so I think it is absolutely an exciting possibility. I think it's absolutely somewhere that the industry is trending. But I think there's still hurdles that we've got to figure out. How do you manage that cost basis? How do you solve for the different SKUs? And how do you solve for a manufacturing workflow that's maybe a little less geared towards 50,000 devices with one set of firmware versus 5 million devices with one set of firmware?
Danielle, once an OTT such as Red Bull TV is integrated as an app into a platform such as Android TV, is there a way for you to access any usage data? We know the value these days is in the data, usage data that you generate, especially through these OTT services. Are you getting any access to that data? How does it work?
Absolutely. So there is high-level data that the partners like Apple or Google provide via their App Store, and there is data we capture as part of the app analytics. So the former includes the number of downloads, for example, and the later one includes things like visits, video views, watch time, and so on. We actually have an in-house development team in Los Angeles and Austria responsible for developing the apps and figuring out all the analytics. So what they did is they created an in-house solution that aggregates the data from all the different devices, social media, and earned to really understand the performance we get.
Okay.
But yeah.
And I was just wondering on the previous issue of search and recommendation, also from an app perspective, is there something you can do to make sure that your content is easily discovered? Do you work on that side of the equation as well?
Absolutely. So actually, we have localized versions of our app in every country. So based on your IP, you get a different version, and the local teams curate that experience for you. We also have some kind of personalization. We want to be better at it for sure, but now we implemented that login that allows us to really show you the kind of content you want. But yeah, in most countries, everything is curated according to the market.
Locally, okay, that makes sense. Nick, this question is both for Nick and Dabal. Do you think hybrid set-top boxes are the most sensible strategy for operators with legacy pay TV services? Let's start with you, Nick.
I think it depends on the state of your network, right? There, I think, are some regions, some providers where their networks, that's not a constraint, and they would rather move channels off QAM quickly or off a DVB quickly in order to free up the capacity to be able to deliver better broadband. There are some places where that's not in the next 5 years, right? They're concerned about having reliable enough internet to be able to deliver video over that. Now, one of the questions that I would ask in that case is where the right investment vector is, because I think there are some cases where if you can't reliably provide video over internet, how much value are you getting over that Android TV box, right? Are you going to wind up with a number of trouble calls related to people not being able to stream Netflix effectively or not being able to stream whatever, from the Red Bull app, whatever app it is that they're trying to watch content from? And so I really think it's on an operator by operator basis, and there may be trends by country or by region, but health of your network, ability to invest in capital for the video delivery, plans for head end, cost of your current head end environment, and then content rights play into that too, right? Whether or not you believe that you have the rights to do some of the cool stuff around network DVR and otherwise. And we see kind of that being less of a problem maybe in Latin America than it is in some other parts of the world where the content rights are a little trickier, but it's in play for sure.
Okay. Dabal?
I fully agree with what Nick said. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here. It really depends on your unique situation as an operator.
Okay. Now, many of the smart TV vendors are also adopting Android TV as their operating system. So the question then comes up, will there come a time when the set-top box itself will become obsolete, an obsolete device? It's a question that we've been asking ourselves for a few years now, and I'd like to hear what each of you think. Daniel, let's start with you.
Sure, I think Nick made an excellent point before. The fact that, like a box is quite cheap, you can change it anytime you need, but then a TV is a big investment. So this is something to consider. Personally, my experience with smart TVs, some are really good, some are really bad, like super slow. So it really depends on the hardware you are getting. And yeah, it's hard to tell. I wouldn't think so, because now there is more innovation on these little boxes, from gaming to other things. So I think the fact that you can change them quite easily from year to year and get updated to the latest technology without investing too much, it's a good point for the boxes to stay.
Nick?
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you an example. I bought one of the really early Sony Android TVs, and it was great for the first year. I could get the apps on there. I didn't have to use anything. Now it's so slow that I never, ever want to wind up on the Android home screen. And so I went out and I bought a dongle and I plugged it into the side, and the picture on there's still great. It's a 4K TV. But anytime I accidentally hit the Android button, I get frustrated because it takes me 30 seconds to get back to what I want to do again. And so I think that's the challenge that you run up against when you look at Android TVs. I think another problem as well from an app provider perspective is the variation within the operating systems, right? Like if you look at Samsung TVs, and even Samsung TVs that may run Tizen, you may have 8 different versions of Tizen that are being run in one release year of TVs within one region. And so that variation gives you a huge test coverage area that you need to deal with as a provider. And so, dongles are a great way to be able to plug into the TV with something that has current hardware and get a better experience as those TVs age, even if the picture doesn't. And I think, going back to my previous point, people don't want to turn over the TVs every couple of years, but I haven't, buying a $30 Fire Stick every 2 years, that doesn't really give most people second thought.
Well, I'm curious, why is it that it became slower as time went on, the Android TV experience within the TV, or is it something?
Think about iPhones, right? If you're running an iPhone from 2016, you continue to put more features get put into the newer versions of Android. And so I think that from an Android or from a TV provider perspective, you have 2 choices. You can either keep taking the new versions of Android and have the experience on the TV get really painful, or you can stop taking new versions, but you may not get support for the apps like Netflix and otherwise going forward. And so I've continued to update the operating system version on that TV. And as you get newer and newer, the TV gets slower and slower.
I see. And Deval?
I think theoretically, set-top box is an access technology, right? So it can get replaced, yes. But I agree with what Nick and Daniel are saying in terms of some of the limitations that TV hardware puts on that theory becoming a reality, right? So the hardware upgrade cycles and the hardware deterioration over age, when you add new features of Android or any platform on that TV, for example. The other issue is just the fragmentation in the TV industry itself, right? So if you look at the Latin American markets, yes, sure, Samsung and LG are sort of, front of the pack, but the top 2 or 3 manufacturers don't really cover like 90% of the market, right? Half the market is still covered by absolutely, tens of different brands, and each would have their own flavor, and app deployment at scale would be very difficult. So in the future, I see set-top boxes as having less of a critical role, right? Maybe being replaced from a set-top box kind of a design to more dongles, but complete elimination of that from where we are today is going to be difficult in the next 5 years or so.
Okay, so general agreement there, interesting. And Nick, you mentioned the advanced advertising opportunities that somehow come associated with Android TV. I'd like you to touch and develop that a little bit more. What new developments do you see in advertising technology that could help pay TV operators who have traditionally relied more on monthly subscription fees as their main source of revenue? Is there a really opportunity in terms of advertising revenue when you take Android TV as part of the picture?
Yeah, I don't know that this is as related to Android TV necessarily as it is to kind of our evolving capabilities with two-way connected set-top boxes. But I think as you look at the ability to do dynamic ad insertion on live or VOD video, right, that creates a revenue source that we know is solid because it supports a wide number of ad-supported video platforms today. I think there are some other cool things that are available, and some of these that TiVo are playing in today, things like what we call sponsored discovery, right? The ability to go out and work with content producers to boost the value of their the frequency that their content shows up from a recommendations perspective, right? If you think about, and there's some cool algorithmic nuance to this as you look at, you don't ever want your recommendation system. If you start promoting the same show for everybody in slot one, anybody who that content isn't relevant for, you're going to erode their confidence in the recommendations over time. But if you can boost shows so that they go from maybe the 7th slot, which isn't on the first screen, to the 4th slot, which is on the first screen, that's going to drive incremental viewership. We know in certain pages of our UI, the first item in the recommendations bar gets clicked twice as often as the second, twice as often as the third, twice as often as the fourth. And so the further up you move in that chain, there's real monetary value for content owners in driving that viewership. And so are there ways for us to monetize that? That's something that we do in some parts of our platform. But I think there's a ton of these different areas, and there's always going to be a balance between user privacy, keeping confidence in the platform, and not making people feel like you're hitting them in the face with ads, right? It's one of the reasons we tend to stay away from some of the ad things you used to see maybe a decade or so ago, right? Where you like plug a laundry detergent ad into the middle of the guide. Like nobody likes that. And then people wonder what they're paying for.
Dhaval, as an operator, do you see recent developments in addressable TV advertising technology as bringing new revenue opportunities for paid TV operators?
Yeah, sure. The technology allows us to have that opportunity, but one of the big factors to consider is the size of the advertising market in the country, right? So, for example, Panama is a relatively small country, population of 4 million. And then, what is the absolute, even if you get 100% of the market share in such custom advertising space, it's not really sort of a needle mover in terms of incremental revenue for your business.
It's true. And it makes you realize why sometimes these conversations happen more naturally in a market like the US, right? Where
absolutely. Scale is paramount to any advertising industry.
Nick, does Android TV have a role to play in smart home systems? Voice assistant functions is one of the features that you see highlighted all the time. So what's there to say about that?
Yeah, so I think that Google Assistant being built into the Android TV set-top boxes is a great opportunity to deal with some of this. There are limitations to how much people are going to control their smart home with the TV remote, but that's absolutely a platform. I think the availability of apps on the platform also helps, right? From your Android TV set-top box, you can access your Ring app. If you have a Ring doorbell, you can access Nest. That's just kind of the basic control level. Now, I think there's a lot of room to evolve as we look at the role of far field, and that's something that I think is it was hot in the pay TV space, and then people kind of didn't think it was working out so well, and it's we see some more momentum on that again. But is there a role for far field in there? I think that's a possibility as well. But the real meat with Android TV, what does it do really well, is the integration of Google Assistant into the remote and the ability to do things like pull your calendar, turn your lights off. It's nice to be able to do that from the couch and to see that on the screen. If as we think about a potential remoteless future where this is all done far field, I think we're a long ways away from that, but there's probably some cool potential there as well.
Is that what we're going to, Daval? I mean, you already potentially have that functionality integrated. Can you see part of your subscriber base turning their air conditioning through the voice assistant on, or perhaps not now? Is that where we're going?
Yeah, so we do see a good usage of Google Assistant on our Android TV. However, at this time, it is predominantly content-related requests, not so much smart home, because the entire ecosystem needs to exist around being able to use smart Wi-Fi, right? So smart Wi-Fi as a smart home it's more of an entire ecosystem at play than an individual piece falling into place. And generally in Panama, smart home as a concept has not yet taken off in a meaningful volume.
Okay. Daniel, what is next for Red Bull? What challenges and opportunities do you see ahead when you think about the new ways or new ways to expand your distribution and your audiences in Latin America?
So we want to work with more partners. I think especially in Central America and the whole Latin region, we have a big opportunity. We will keep investing in localization and the curation of those local experiences. But for us, it's really about having a meaningful experience for our consumers. And, you know, like being able to have all these live shows in Spanish and, you know, make them more relevant, maybe hiring casters from Latin America to ensure that, you know, they can relate to that and maybe have them as the face to promote this kind of content where maybe we are not so strong in the region. It's a way for us to go. But in general, we will do our best to keep creating content that surprises and inspires. I think in the end, this is what we do, the core of what we do, creating amazing content.
Okay. We have last 3 minutes. We have a question coming from the audience. Gustavo Villegas from Cubic Solutions is asking, where in the future path is Google TV? Nick, would you like to, Gustavo's not saying who the question is addressed to, but would you like to take on that?
Yeah, I mean, so I think Google TV has been some different things over time, right? And I think it used to refer, they had a TV offering in the US it used to refer to, I've seen it referred to now as the new UI they've rolled out on the Chromecast devices. I think it is a good discovery experience for unmanaged devices. I think it continues to create opportunities to integrate content into their home screen on the unmanaged path, but I don't think it necessarily changes anything that we've talked about with regard to Android TV today as a great solution for pay TV operators where they can own more of the experience than they can in that Google TV world. Okay.
Daval, last question will be for you. Any early conclusions or lessons that you have learned since your Android TV launch, which you would like to share with other operators or telcos that might be considering launching also a pay TV service using the Google middleware?
Yeah, sure. So I think, you know, we are about almost a year in now to our Android TV launch. So far, we have been pretty happy with how that has shaped up for us, right? It's something which our consumers love. It's something that we find comfortable in running as an operator from a technical perspective. So it's definitely a very good option for getting to market rapidly and on an affordable budget. At the same time, whether you go for it or not would heavily depend on your situation, the capacity of your broadband network, your architecture, your back office, your programming and content rights, and so on. But if those things are falling into place, then definitely Android TV is a good alternative.
Good. Well, thank you very much to our panelists. Thank you to our audience, wherever you're joining us from. We're going to take a very short break. When we resume, we're going to have a special presentation from Leandro Lagos from Tigo, Costa Rica. Gracias. See you soon. Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.